Yo, what is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. We got football tonight, baby. It is Thursday night football between the Giants and the San Francisco 49ers, minus a Saquon Barkley. I will have some start-sit for you in the comment section for tonight's game, but you know what we're here for. Boom or bust, week number 3. Who's gonna boom? Who's gonna bust? And I mean, this has been the mantra, man. We got to talk about consistency numbers. We got to see who's going to be the guy that we can trust week in, week out. And I got running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. Let's kick it off with my guy, Travis Etienne. He goes 24.1 points so far this season, 50% on the boom games. Okay, we're early. It's week 2, but I mean, the Jags, they looked bad last week versus their loss, or with the loss versus the Kansas City Chiefs, I should say. I mean, having a good matchup versus these Houston Texans, it's good, man. I mean, the Texans defense has underwhelmed at this point. Etienne does very well, typically, historically, versus these Texans, coming off a bad showing after a great showing in week 1. You got to feel likely a bounce back is in the cards. Boom game. I'm calling for my guy, Travis Etienne, this week. Kenny Walker the third, 26.6 points, had a very good contest this past week. He is currently the running back 10, y'all. Looked very good this past week, basically seeing that the backfield belongs to Kenny. You know, we had offseason fears that it could be, something of a split with Zach Charbonnet. The high performance continues to pile up. This offense here in Seattle found its game this past week. I think it's absolutely going to continue once again this week, seeing a decent matchup with Shaq Thompson out with these Carolina Panthers. I'm calling a boom game for Kenny Walker III as well. I do dig it. I think he's going to hit it for us once again this week. Jerome Ford, the biggest news coming off the waiver wire because Nick Chubb was dealing with that injury. Terrible, gruesome injury on the knee. He's out for the rest of the season, Nick Chubb is. So Jerome Ford, who everyone basically spent all their fab dollars on this, in this waiver period, it's going to be tough, man. And also signing Kareem Hunt back to the Cleveland Browns, I should say, to the roster, it does give a lot of people pause, but this backfield should belong majority touches to a Jerome Ford. He is the reason why they let Kareem Hunt walk this past offseason anyway, but there should be at least 60-40 split touches. You got to understand. You guys know my work. Ford was my guy going back to his draft class. Solid reviews I did give this man. He does got a lot of game, but they are facing a Titans defense that isn't shy and being stingy versus these running backs. We could see a bust game come happen here for Jerome Ford this week. Playing it safe. If you got Nick Chubb, you picked him up off the waiver, you're likely playing him. I completely understand that, but for, purposes of this, outside of scoring a touchdown, we could see a bust coming for Jerome Ford this week. Najee Harris, I mean, it's been bad, y'all. 9.1 points so far on the season. No boom games. Okay, hear me out. On this one. Maybe I smoked something before I got this opinion, but I'm telling you, I'm not out on the Najee thing just yet, even though he looks like he's got 2 trailers attached to his butt right now. He looks slower than ever. Absolutely no burst. The matchup is good that we can't overlook it. I mean, he's taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. And if there's a game to get back on track, this is definitely the one. I don't understand why the Steelers aren't utilizing Najee in the pass game like they have in the past as well. Yes, Jaylen Warren is, creeping into his touch carries here, but this is the last time I'm going to promote anything for Najee Harris because the matchup is too good to fade, and the Steelers need to continue to improve their offense at this point. Risky suggesting a boom game. Fingers crossed here for Najee Harris. Don't fail me now, even though it's a big risk. I don't hate if you guys throw him on the bench, but I'm going to go on a ledge here and say, okay, Najee's going to bounce back in this game. If he doesn't, I think we're almost out on the Najee bandwagon. Wide receiver time, Jordan Addison. Another one of my guys. He was my number 1 ranked wide receiver coming out of this draft class, and rightfully so. He is showing everything. Going back, like my assessment on the Vikings going back to this offseason was also true and correct, that they wanted to be a lot more pass happy, and that's why they got rid of Dalvin Cook. And okay, the Madison thing is not working out. They just traded for a Cam Akers. We will see how that does shake down in this backfield. But with the case being Addison, I mean, it was very high performing rookie was going to happen, playing alongside a a JJ and a Kirk Cousins who knows how to sling the ball down the field. Having boomed 2 weeks in a row as a rookie is unbelievable. Odds are suggesting that he probably should bust this week, but I just like it versus the Chargers' leaky defense that has more leaks than a kitchen faucet, y'all. And he's going to definitely boom again this week for me. Efficiency is the name of the game. Boom, baby, boom for my guy Jordan Addison. Courtland Sutton, 20.3 points right now, half PPR, barely putting up the numbers we expect from a team wide receiver one. The Denver Broncos still kind of in disarray when it comes to that pass game, even though, Russell Wilson seemed to have figured it out fantasy-wise, just not in the win column at this point. The return of Jerry Jeudy should also remove some target share from Courtland Sutton, because you got to believe they're going to try to get Jerry Jeudy back into the mix at some point. He was not injured this past week, didn't play much at all. Russell Wilson has been slinging the ball, which is very good, positive news. And I mean, the commitment, lack of overall commitment has me worried in week number 3 and facing these Miami Dolphins defense on the road. This is not an easy task whatsoever. Some saying this is a trap game for Miami. I don't necessarily see it. I'm calling a bust for a Courtland Sutton this week. Look in other directions. I do not like it whatsoever. Zay Flowers, Baltimore Ravens. Zay's been that guy, man. Super electric, seeing a decent amount of target share thus far. 13 out of 15 for a catch rate of 86% from Lamar. You got to take that all day long. 22 points right now for this rookie. But I still want to see this pass game open up just a little bit more, be a little bit more efficient. And yes, they're ironing out all the inadequacy early on with the chemistry build, with the new offensive coordinator. So I do believe it will start to grow and gain traction as the coming weeks do continue to move forward. OBJ is nursing an injury as well, even though it hasn't necessarily precluded and taken plays away from Zay Flowers. I think that, this is big. This is an opportunity for Zay to be the guy, get the number one passes outside of a Mark Andrews potentially. Expect Zay to be getting the ball a lot versus these Colts because he's too good with the ball in his hand. Back to boom this week for a Zay Flowers for me. DJ Moore, 16.9 points so far on the season. Luckily found a way to a boom game this past week because of garbage time productivity, but the Bears offense looks like an absolute mess right now. Dump fire. We got the media taking context out for Justin Fields on what he's saying, blaming the coaching staff, and then Justin Fields coming back and saying, that's not what I was saying. It's just, everything's not working right now, but we got to put blame where it is due. Justin Fields is not seeing the field well at all right now. He is not reading, missing multiple reads, not progressing to his other targets and his wide receivers, seeing seams be wide open, not hitting it for the touchdowns. It does not look good, and the byproduct right now is DJ Moore having underwhelming target share and fantasy football productivity. I mean, again, like I said, Moore found his way to the boom last week, but I mean, facing Chris Jones and these Chiefs in Arrowhead, this could get ugly in a very big way. I'm going back to the bust game for a DJ Moore. Don't like it, don't see it. We got to see more from the Chicago Bears. I mean, that's all we can really say at this point. Tight ends, Dalton Schultz. I mean, the crap heap that is tight ends right now. Very difficult to trust. Dalton Schultz, 6.8% right, or 6.8 points, I should say. No boom games in this offense where I had, hoped and predicted early on this offseason that CJ Stroud would start looking to, Robert Woods, Bobby Trees, Dalton Schultz as the safety blanket, and he's looking everywhere else but Dalton Schultz right now, even though, Stroud is starting to figure things out. He looked good, 384 yards. Yes, it was a lot in garbage time this past year, but for fantasy football, we don't care when it comes as long as it comes. I mean, Stroud is finding his wide receivers with good distribution, while Dalton Schultz has found his way to some target share this past week, which is good news. Will he be consistent early on? Probably not. I want to see it a little bit more before we can trust it on a weekly basis. But the tight end position right now versus the Jags, who do have a good, solid defense, will come after Stroud with a lot of pressure. You got to feel that, this could be the week that Dalton Schultz actually does have a bigger role in this offense. I'm going to gamble on this one and call it a boom for Dalton Schultz because he hasn't had one yet this year, and you got to feel like one is coming. Dallas Goedert, Dallas go dare. I mean, this guy, okay, it's no secret the Eagles haven't looked like the Eagles from last year, the dominating force, even though they did have a better showing this past week. Jalen Hurts finding his wide receivers, but he is not using the tight end position like Dallas Goedert like we thought he would. Okay, he's feeding the run game is being, exploited. What's his name? DeAndre Swift. Sorry, his name evaded me there for a second. DeAndre Swift, he had an absolute blow-up game this past week. I do absolutely believe they're going to continue on the ground game. They're feeding A.J. Brown, feeding Devonta Smith. Dallas Goedert just is the afterthought right now. This could be the week that he gets back on track versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense that still has proven to be quite sound and quick. So you got to think that they're going to go to the well and say, Dallas Goedert, this is your week. First time this year, I'm calling it boom game for Dallas Goedert. Come in because, he's just been an afterthought. You got to rectify that. Philadelphia Eagles fly. It's time for Dallas to fly as well. Hunter Henry, 28.3 points right now. He is one of the best tight ends in all of fantasy football. 2 weeks in a row, the Pats have gone back to the well, Gronk style, and used the tight end with higher rates of efficiency. Hunter Henry is finally paying dues for the contract that he did sign with these New England Patriots a couple years back. Will he continue to get the ball versus these Jets, this defense, the stout defense of the New York Jets, I should say? Will it continue? You got to believe it is likely going to be had, but this Jets defense is still very sound, and the way the Pats defense, going up against a Zach Wilson, you got to understand maybe the defense is going to win this game for him rather than the offense, much like the Cowboys did versus the Jets. So I do believe that Hunter Henry is going to be a focal point for this defense to shut down and allow some of these wide receivers to finally carry this team to victory. I do believe Hunter will be involved, but I think he'll be neutralized more than anything this week. I'm going to call a bust for Hunter Henry, but I do like the start either way. He's boomed these last 2 games, but I do believe it's got to taper off at some point. I call a bust for Hunter Henry this week. Tyler Higbee, last one on the board. 9.1 points, 0 boom games, and the assumption this offseason for the Rams was that they would be a perennial bottom feeder. It's not happening. Coach McVay has them playing very well on all sides of the ball. No thanks to Tyler Higbee at this point, and I understand because it's been the rookie Puka Nacua, it's been Kyron Williams to lead the charge and taking a lot of pressure off of a Matthew Stafford. Higbee has seen the back seat because of all the forced targets going to a Puka. Facing the Bengals here on Monday night, there is potential that the tight end does get involved, but I think the struggle continues for a Tyler Higbee as there's enough weaponry here where Puka's just getting open all over the field. They're nickel and diming defenses down the field. The struggle definitely is going to continue. I'm going to call a bust for Tyler Higbee this week once again, but hey, that is Boomer Bust this week as we enter week number 3 of the regular season. Exciting times. If you're 0-2, do not give up, man. Waiver wire's there. Make some trades. Follow me. I will get you to the postseason in fantasy play. No kidding. But what do you say about this, man? Let's go. Nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts. Once again, my start sit for tonight's game will be down there, so give me your comments, and we'll see you next time. I am out.